Okay, so if you tried it and weren't able to get all of the answers, I can understand. I'm going to show you an easier way of getting them, but they are still solvable. So, really, like if you really gave it a good attempt and understood everything that was going on, you should have some answers. So, I'm just going to kind of gather a list. I'm not going to say whether they're right or wrong yet. But we had several students were surveyed about whether they prefer writing with a pen or pencil. And they are also asked whether they prefer lined paper or unlined paper. Here's some of those results. I'm not going to read every single one because we'll probably have to reread it in a second. But you have to answer these questions with all the given information, and it is possible. So how many students prefer using pencil more than 10? If you think you have the answer, can you please tell me what it is? I'm just going to get a list. So based on this information, how many students prefer using pencil more than 10, right? All right, anyone get something other than 45 for that one? Macy? 60? Anyone get something other than those two? Okay. Then it says how many students prefer using pen and unlined paper. Thanks, they have that one. So all of these thumbs, no one got even a guess for that one. Okay, 55. Anyone get something other than that? Emmeline? 85. Anyone get something other than those? Okay. And then how many students prefer using pencil and unlined paper? Anyone have that one? Anyone get something other than 90? Okay. So this is our first lesson of Unit 3. Unit 3 is a very short unit. As you can see on our little whiteboard calendar in the classroom, we will be testing for Unit 3 by next Friday. So like it's a short unit. Of all the units, this is the shortest, and you just have to be on top of everything. Like normally you have up to the unit test to get any missing work done for that unit. So you don't really have a whole lot of wiggle room. It's a short unit. It's 2 variable statistics. So in this warm-up, you had where they were comparing pen and pencil. And then whether they liked line or unlined paper. What I'm creating, because I have some prior knowledge, obviously having taught it multiple times, this lesson is called two-way tables. So I'm going to create a two-way table, and you'll see how much easier it is to solve when you create one or when you're using one. So consider you do have some free space to copy this over. We have our 2 different categories. And sometimes you'll see it just like this, but I highly recommend add a total row and a total column. It will make your life easier because not all the questions will be answered just like here. Okay. So we're making a two-way table. That's what this lesson is called. In the past, like when I've not taught it on a Monday, we've been able to get through the first 2 lessons in this one day. So if you look like on the back of your paper, there's lesson 2. We're doing that part tomorrow, because obviously we won't have time today. But don't lose your note sheets ever, because we need it for binder check anyway. But tomorrow, instead of grabbing the paper, you'll pull it out from your backpack. And we'll do that lesson. All right, but we are gonna make our two-way table and then see what of these were correct, if any. All right, so starting from the top, the survey included 100 different students. So did they say anything about what those 100 students prefer in that bullet point? So I shouldn't put it anywhere that has like one specific criteria, or two rather, because this one, each box has two headings. This one is pen and lined paper. This one's pen and unlined paper. This is my total people that like pens. So where would I put the 100 students that they surveyed?
Yeah.
Good. Bottom right corner where my total row and total column intersect. So if they don't give you a total row or total column, but they tell you how many they surveyed, you might want to create one. So that way you can answer some of those parts that we're missing. So any grand totals go in that bottom right. So we covered that bullet point. Now don't shout out the answers yet. I'm going to call on each table, so make sure you're paying attention so that you're not just cold called. The next one says 40 students said they prefer using pen more than pencil. So did they say anything about the lined or unlined paper in this one? So I don't want it to go in any box that has the lined or unlined intersection. So don't do this, because that's what I'm going to do to show you. Here has a lined category. I don't want to put that value there. Same thing here. I don't want to put it any in this column that has to do with line. I don't want to put it anywhere that mentions the unlined, because like this bullet point didn't mention lined or unlined. It just says they prefer using pen more than pencil. So table 4, where does the 40 need to go then? Do we know our table numbers? I know I didn't put them out, but we knew where to set. So table 4. You know who we are? We raise our hands. Well, class, does that make sense? That 40 prefer using pen more than pencil, so I should put it there. Yeah, don't overthink it. That's really where you need to put it. Again, not over here or over there, because it didn't mention anything about the line or unlined paper in that bullet. Then it says 45 students said they prefer using unlined paper more than lined paper. So in that bullet point, did they mention anything about the pen or pencil? So table 5, where does that 45 need to go? What two headings? Into the unlined total. That's where the 45 goes. They prefer using unlined paper. Doesn't say anything about pen or pencil, so you can't really put it in those two boxes. It has to go here. All right, table 6. They said that 10 students prefer lined paper and pen. So where does that need to go in this table? Under the line next to the pen, where it's like both criteria at once. So that makes sense. This box is specifically those two criteria, so it should go there. All right, last bit of information they give us. So table 7. 45 students said they prefer pencil and lined paper. Where would that go? In my table. So table 7, that's Macy, Ashlyn, Chris, Max. Where do the 45 students that prefer pencil and lined paper, where does that 45 need to go? Sorry, repeat it. Pencil and line. Pencil and line, so right here. I would have also accepted like second row left box, like something, tell me. Was that difficult to figure out in the table? So that's why the table is preferred for things like this. And there are parts that are missing. Do we have enough information to fill in those missing parts? Yeah, use your critical thinking skills. So table 8. If I have 100 students that prefer, or sorry, if out of 100 students, 40 prefer pen, how many prefer pencils? Table 8. 60. So then I should know what goes here. Right? Critical thinking skills. Kennedy, can you tell me something else that can be filled in that we have enough information for? Okay, 55 goes where? 55 goes here. So what this row is saying is that if I have 60 students total that prefer pencils, we know 45 of those kids prefer lined paper. That means 55 of them prefer unlined. Or do you want to change where that 55 goes? Oh, okay, so the lined in total makes more sense to put the 55 there. Because when I add these two specifically said that they like lined paper, this will give me my total that likes lined paper. That makes more sense to put it there. Right, and then it also makes sense because if out of the 100 people, 45 liked the unlined, well, 55 must have liked the line. So it should all make sense whatever direction you are going. Like it shouldn't not add up or not subtract to that. All right, table 1, give me one more thing I could fill in based on what I have here. 15 where? All right, and that's because 60 liked pencil, 45 of them we knew liked line, so do your math. 60 minus 45 is 15. And table 2, what must go here then? 30. And you could do the math this way, 45 minus 15. You could do the math this way, 40 minus 10. But it should all make sense. It should all add up to those total columns and total rows. Questions on that? Okay, that took way more long than I would have liked for it to, but we did it. We made it from scratch. Now we should be able to better answer these questions. And normally I give you time to like reflect and think about it, but we're already short on time, so let's keep going. For how many students prefer using pencil more than pen? What is that? 60. So again, nothing about the lined or unlined, so I shouldn't be looking at this part of my table. This value is the one that tells me how many prefer using pencil more than pen. Someone got it right. So it is possible to get all of these right, but it's harder, in my opinion, without this two-way table. And also a lot of you didn't get the answer at all, so. Okay, so now how many students prefer using pen and unlined paper? Do we have the right answer there? What is the answer? Because you look at your two-way table, look for the two different criteria they mentioned. This is where it's pen and unlined paper. No one got it right. The answer is actually 30. I could see where some of your minds might have gone to, like adding up some of the totals, but no, what we mean is both at the same time, not adding those totals. All right, and last one, how many students prefer using pencil and unlined paper? Did we get the right answer? No, but again, that's just not understanding what it really wanted. What is the right answer? And that is here, pencil and unlined paper. Where they intersect. I think we were looking at the pencil total and adding the unlined total, but that's not what it wants. Right? So it's both at the same time. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, more of the time, I think that they are at least giving you the headings. So like what I wrote in the black, and then you fill in the numbers yourself, usually, versus making it completely from scratch. So be able to fill in the missing parts. All right, moving on, we're gonna give you a brand new situation. So we did this one to death, like on now. New situation about the fruit flies. A scientist is trying to determine the role of specific genes by looking at the traits of fruit flies. The offspring of 2 fruit flies are examined to determine the color of their eyes and whether they have curled wings or standard wings. 80 offspring are randomly selected and the results are recorded in the two-way table. So what we did in the warm-up, that's called the two-way table. You see, we're gonna pick up on that. So here's the table given to you. They're not making you work hard for those answers. What I will say is if they don't give you a total row or a total column to create one. So like, what is the total number of flies that have red eyes? What math do I need to do for that? So just add it. What's 17 plus 45? Use a calculator. 52? 62. Again, use those calculators. But yeah, if you don't have a total row or total column, please create one. It'll help you answer some of these questions. But you, in your table groups, answer these questions. Don't overthink it. They're actually really not that hard. So tell me what the 17 represents. Tell me how many selected fly offspring had white eyes. How many had standard wings, all of those things. I'll give you about 4 minutes before we start going over this. And there's actually 7 questions total, so just answer as many as you can. We'll probably only go over 3 today. But we will go over them all as I just. All right, table 6, just tell me what the 17 in the table represents. Yeah. So flies with both red eyes and curled wings. Is correct. So this is really just, can you read the table? And specifically at the same time. Like, we're not saying only 17 flies have red eyes. We're not saying only 17 flies have curled wings. We're saying only 17 have both of those traits at once. Okay, questions on that? Pretty good, something to that effect. So wherever you're pulling it from the table, whatever headings like intersect on that box should be mentioned in your explanation. All right, now table 7. How many selected fly offspring have white eyes? $18 is correct. Now notice, class, there's no 18 on the table, right? But if you add in those total rows and total columns, this is where you would ordinarily find that information. This is my total that had white eyes. All right, so obviously if this many had this many, add it together, that gives you my total. In number 2, it didn't say anything about the wings, right? So that's how you know not to look here. That your answer would actually be something else. That makes sense? We're talking about this? Okay. For showing your reasoning, you could show that you're adding the 5 plus 13. That is what you're doing. Table 8. How many selected fly offspring had standard wings? 58. Again, we don't see that on the table. But if you add in that total row and total column, like I told you, this is where you're getting that information. And then just for fun, we're still in this one. And how many total were surveyed, by the way? 80. And you get that from adding these together, for one, or adding these together, and also from your paragraph. Usually they'll try to trick you and make you think that you don't have enough information to fill in your two-way tables because they'll give you the grand total in words in everyday language. So be able to translate that over. Questions on the first 3? All right, but for showing your reasoning for 58, I would do the 45 plus 13 because that would be what we did. Total that had standard wings. I have time for a couple more, so let's keep going. These were also questions related to this table. So whether you did them or not, I think you should still be able to do them on the spot. So what does the 13 in the table represent? Table 9, can you tell me? So flies with both white eyes and standard wings. Is this easy so far? Yeah. I hope so. Basically what you do in science every day. So flies with both white eyes and standard wings is correct. Table 1, you'll have number 5. So how many selected fruit fly offspring have red eyes and standard wings? 45 is correct. All right, 2 criteria at the same time. Red eyes, standard wings, it's that one. Don't overthink it. I could give you a whole bunch of vocabulary, like I could tell you that these are joints because it's 2 at the same time. I could tell you that if you're pulling from a total row or a total column that it's marginal, but it really doesn't matter. Like those vocab words don't matter. It's just your common sense for this unit. Really, it is. So I'm not going to throw a bunch of vocab at you that doesn't matter. Although it is a joint because it is 2 at once. You just have to know where to look. All right, last one we'll do together. How many selected fruit fly offspring are represented in the table? Open. 80. They told you that in the little paragraph. Or you could do the math, you could add them all up and those. All right, we'll end it there.